Beautiful. Welcome back, everybody. First of all, thank you all very much for wishing me a wonderful Christmas season. I appreciate it. I know this Christmas has been very different from previous years. This is a difficult time for many of us. Families are split apart, but we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Please stay safe a bit longer. We are almost there. And let's distract everyone now with some beautiful news from starcitizen. There is an abundance of information. I'm going to have to make multiple videos on everything that's happened over the past 2 weeks just to catch up. But starting off with a summary of what's happening in 3.13, made by Odysseus1992. As always, thank you, sir. Now, the summary is this. Now, a lot of these features have been pushed from previous patches, pushed forward to here. So you may have seen them already. But just quickly, refinery stations, Stanton system polish, new asteroids, cave entrances, force reactions, missile guidance control rework. Lots to talk about it there. Vehicle names and serial numbers. I take dibs on the name Serenity with the E that is actually a 3. Vehicle names are going to be a big thing, and just adding more personalization to your ships, and a lot of people are looking forward to that. Vehicle visual degradation, a lot of talk about there. Hacking, Merlin constellation docking, finally. Missile operator mode, very important. Law system surrender, interesting. Ship to station docking, good. Crusader M2 and C2 is my valuable 600i finally about to be swapped out for something else. We'll find out. Mounted guns, really? And convert legacy date management to iCache. All right. So first of all, the progress tracker is finally in. I know we joked a lot about this being the roadmap of the roadmap and kind of joked around, but there's so much happening in there. That's going to be a separate video. For now, I just want to focus on 3.13. By the way, if you've been away and you haven't tried 3.12 yet, get in there. The new Idris mission is spectacular. In fact, I've got a video to show you, submitted by Mark Santu, of the Idris blowing up. In fact, I have 2 of them. Let's do that towards the end. You're going to love what you see there. But to start off, I want to talk about 3.13 and what's coming down the pipe here, beginning with refinery stations, non-commercial overlays. Now, I'm not too much into mining. I have not spent as much time as I should in the refinery sections, which are spectacular, by the way. The mining game loop is really making all other game loops jealous about what they have there. I hope to see more focus on other game loops with that kind of detail. But they're introducing non-commercial overlays to the new to the entry areas, and refinery stations add more variety to suit the theme. It is good, looking very good. Stanton system polish. Now, I often hear the criticism or the concern: how will Star Citizen look once the game is released? How will it stand up to other games, keeping in mind that it might come out in 2022 or 2024? We don't know at this point. That's another discussion. But how will the game look? And the thing is, with Star Citizen, is they're constantly improving and optimizing. And again, Stanton system getting more polish. You may not notice it because it's so close to the previous one, but if you take a look at Stanton system now compared to what you had 5 years ago, the differences are huge. And they'll continue to push more polygons, push better textures. As time goes on, Star Citizen will always look pretty damn good. Doesn't matter when it's going to come out, they are always improving it. If I can draw an example from Skyrim, which came out, what is it, 8 years ago now? If you go and download the latest 4K texture map and apply it, the game looks decent for an 8-year-old game. More so for a game like Star Citizen, which the devs are constantly improving as time goes on. It will look good when it releases, we'll see. New asteroids in the Stanton system. I saw no problems with the old ones, but again, this is something which they want to improve upon, creating replacements for the asteroids currently used in Stanton system using new organic acid workflow. I am curious to know if that ties in to the cave entrances. Will we see caves and sinkholes on asteroids? That's going to make for some very unique gameplay. If you find an asteroid, it happens to have a sinkhole, you go exploring, you find some interesting resources or alien tech, that'll make the game very exciting, and I kind of have a feeling that what it might tie into. So cave entrances, drive-in and sinkholes, adding new cave entrances to the PU. The drive-in entrance allows the player to take in the ground vehicle for mining maybe, while the sinkhole entrance will require players to enter and exit using a ship. Thank you, Star Wars, for giving Chris Roberts this idea. I am looking forward to seeing a giant worm in my cave entrance. I just hope they get the physics for this fixed, because way too many times I've fallen into a crevice between some rocks and had to log out to get back in. So it's not 100%, but it's always been improved upon, and I trust they will fix all those issues. Now, moving on to some gameplay entries. Force reactions you are probably familiar with if you have 4 seats on your ship. Now, there's a reason why there are 4 seats with harnesses, because if you have 8 people on your ship who are not buckled down and you make some high G maneuvers, they will fall. Will the high Gs eventually kill people? It may, or at least injure them, all related to force reactions. Missile guidance and control rework. Convert missiles to use IFCS guidance. If you need a refresher on that, there's a big Reddit post made by, John Pritchett, and this is when he was still at CIG. When was this? 2 years ago. And he talks about the intelligent flight control system at length, how it's modeled to control and assist the pilot in operating spacecraft within a starcitizen flight simulation. Our flight simulation is 6 degrees of freedom, rigid body, Newtonian model. How or why does this apply? Oops, you weren't supposed to see that, to missiles. Well, if you remember in previous patches, you might have seen a missile or torpedo do these 180s and spin, or 360 spins very fast around each other. No longer now. IFCS applied. They have mastered Newtonian physics. This was more taxing on the servers, which is why it wasn't implemented then. I guess they've reached a point now where they can implement it, and it does make a big difference, but also makes it a bit easier for the Idris to shoot down incoming torpedoes. Watch this.
Sí, pero es que ni se acercan. Ah, bueno, está girando. Pero lo ha petado antes de que llegue.
Isn't that awesome? That is amazing. Thank you very much for submitting that video. Very cool. So IFCS applied 2 torpedoes and missiles, making them easier to shoot down, but also more realistic in their flight paths. Moving on to vehicle names and serial numbers. Post below if you want to call your ship Serenity and what variation of Serenity you will use. A lot of people looking forward to this, the ships which you paid for to be able to do this for, and just adds that personal touch to your ship, makes your ship feel more like home. Me personally, I'm just numbering my ships because I don't want to form any personal attachment to them, because I know they'll just get blown up. Just my opinion. What do you think? Vehicle visual degradation. Now this ties in very nicely with being able to name your ship. Naming your ship, giving it a name, a personality, and then having the visual degradation over time. So if your ship has not been blown up for a year, 2 years, 4 years, and looks like it's run down, it has scorch marks on it, has laser hits on it, it's, I guess, a badge of pride that you've managed to maintain the ship and not lose it. Vehicle visual degradation tying in there to make your ship look used, like it's been around for a while, but also possibly making your ship a target, right? So if you see this Idris that is really, really worn down, you know that ship has been around for a long time. Maybe it makes you more of a target. I like that. I like that a lot. Looking forward to seeing that in the game. Hacking tech. This ties into possible new missions that you may have to hack your way into a base, or hack to get information out of some terminal. You've been playing Cyberpunk? Same kind of thing, I'm guessing, that you want to go on some data retrieval missions, and hacking will be needed for that. Merlin and Constellation docking after all this time. The reason I backed for a Constellation game package in Star Citizen was because of the Merlin, which was docked in there. The idea was you're in upper atmosphere or in space and you want to go down the surface, you jump into a Merlin, down you go. So finally this is coming out, and I will be the first to download this patch and get in there and finally try what I wanted to do when I first backed this game 7 years later, but good to see it coming along. Missile operator mode. If you have missiles with different types of damages or different types of homing mechanisms, you can now choose which one to fire. Do you want to fire a cross-section or an IR? You can choose now. Very useful to those vehicles which support that. Law System version 2 surrender. Some questions here. When will it be in your best interest to surrender versus fighting your way out? If you are a criminal and you're being stopped by the UEE, do you go and blow them up, or do you go and fight your way out? Or do you go and surrender? What is the advantage of surrender? I'm curious. Maybe less prison time. Maybe if you fight your way out and you lose, you get 24 hours of prison. Maybe if you surrender, you get 1 hour of prison. I'm not really sure. We'll find out and see what the plans are with that very soon. Station docking. If you have a large cap ship, this is obviously needed. Now we also see the missions coming in, and we'll see ships docking hopefully at the INS Jericho No doubt that is why the docking system has to be in place to make that all work. Let's move on to ships and vehicles. Now, my 600i is a hangar queen, and I'm wondering if this is what finally causes it to be upgraded or melted down to be purchased. The M2 Hercules Starlifter. Where is the A2? I'm very curious to see how that turns out. Also, the C2 obviously coming along with that. The A2 is the one that has those enormous gravity bombs. I guess that's not ready to come out yet, but we'll see very soon. I'm excited to get into those ships and see what they are about and make a decision about that 600i Hangar Queen. Now, mounted guns. We already have mounted guns in vehicles, but we also have now further expanding the player's arsenal by allowing them to take control of mounted guns on a vehicle or the ground. So are we looking at ground fixed turrets around bases maybe, where you have to protect a base and use their ground mounted turrets? Possibly some variation in gameplay, protect an area and using the turrets on the ground. I'd like to see that come into place. That is what mounted turrets are about in this patch. Moving on to core tech. They are converting legacy data management to iCache. That is always happening, and don't hold your breath. It's in constant development, coming very soon. Retarget all gameplay systems that use legacy persistent data management system to the new iCache interface. This is in support of the wider persistent streaming and server meshing initiatives. All right, let's finish off now with a very cool final moments of an Idris exploding submitted by Mark Sand 2. If you haven't tried 312, this is the magic part of it. I love this. I cannot see enough of these videos. In fact, you know what? I'm going to save this clip, which is even more spectacular. Sorry, Mark Sand, for the next video, but check this out. The sound effects and the visuals of this explosion is probably some of the best I've seen. Here we go. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's going to be the most spectacular type of explosion that I have seen in a game. Am I being biased? Maybe. Probably. But beautiful work. Well done, CIG, on the Idris explosion. With that, let's wrap it up. I've got a lot more videos to make. Guys, if you enjoy my content, thumbs up, subscribe, you know what to do. And catch you in the next one.